Hello and welcome. In this tutorial, I will show you how to take ordinary photos or videos from any device and using the Scan the World platform to create high-quality 3D models. You can add annotations and clickable links with custom camera angles to showcase to users as they interact with your visualization. You can deploy these 3D models on your website or use them as product visualization on Shopify or WooCommerce. Today, we will use this office bar stool as a scanning example. We'll first talk about the basic rules for 3D scanning. No matter if you're taking photos or videos for the 3D scan, make sure your lenses are clean and there's sufficient diffuse lighting. This avoids casting hard shadows on your object, which will diminish the quality of your 3D scan. Most importantly, do not move your object and avoid moving objects in the background. The algorithm works by identifying unique features and tracking these tie points across your images or video. To illustrate this, I've highlighted point 0 here and show you how it's being tracked in multiple images. There are millions of these tie points, not just on the object, but also in the surrounding area as well. These are used to model the 3D shape of the object. So if the objects move between images, it will confuse the algorithm. Shooting technique. You want to capture as much as you can from every angle and elevation. Since the stool is quite tall, I did 4 revolutions around it from varying heights. Everything you want the user to see, you must first capture it through the lens. The source video is sped up on the rights, and I'll also attach it to the description. I even flipped my phone upside down midway through to get an even lower angle. To upload your media, simply log into the Scan the World platform and click the New Model button on the top right. Drag and drop your media into the window. Keep in mind, photos are limited to 300 per scan and videos are limited to 3 minutes. Once uploading is complete, give the system at least half an hour to complete the reconstruction. There will be 2 models returned from the processing. One is the GLB and the other is the PLY file. GLB is the traditional 3D mesh model, which is an experimental function we're providing. Sometimes it does provide decent results, but for this tutorial, we will focus on the PLY file. We'll open that. Upon loading, you'll notice the model is rotated. It also captured a lot of the background, which we will show you how to cut away. Let's click the Edit Model button. This will take you to the 3D model editor, where we developed an editing wizard that requires very little prior 3D modeling experience. Let's push Start Editing Wizard. You see it automatically toggles you to the top view, and it tells you, please select the parts to keep. Let's use the mouse wheel to zoom in, and also the right mouse button to pan. Center the object you want to keep, and then using the left mouse button, you can draw a box. Once you release, you'll notice everything else turns yellow, and that's because you've selected the parts you want to keep, and we will delete the ones we don't want. Once you do that, you're left with just the chair or the object you're scanning. We'll push Next and now send you to the side view. Again, we'll do the same thing. We'll zoom in and using the right mouse button, we'll pan. You'll notice I'm looking at the bottom of the chair. There's a button down here that flips the axis. That will make it easier for you to see. Again, I'll select the parts to keep, delete the ones I don't want, press Next, and I'll do one last one, select the parts I want to keep, the rest. I'll close this prompt, and once I push Next, I'm now in the cleanup mode, and I'll start by talking about this toolbar. The hand tool allows you to orbit around the object and with the left mouse button, and the right mouse button allows you to pan. Mouse wheel is still the zoom. And I'll go, and the gizmo on the top right, that allows you to toggle different views. And I'll go into the front view, and using the rectangular select tool, the same tool we've used before, but now when I release, I'm selecting the points instead of selecting the points I want to keep. Once the selection is made, it turns yellow. You will press delete and delete the ones you don't want. There is a brush tool which allows you to freely select points to delete. There is a loop tool. This is helpful if you align your view to a straight line, and then using this loop tool, I'll draw a circle around, and it leaves me with a straight cut line that I can highlight these points that I don't want. These three icons on the right, these are the transform buttons. This one is to translate, move it along the axis. This one is to rotate. So let's select the rotation tool, go to the front view, and I'll just rotate it back to upright, as well as moving it to the center. The last one is scale. And that brings me to talk about these boxes. These major grids are 1 meter. The minor boxes are 10 centimeters. My chair is about 40 centimeters across. So I will go to the top view. And then to scale, you click the center of these boxes. And I'll scale that down to about 4 boxes across. So that's about 40 centimeters. Select the hand tool again, and you can see it's almost complete. So using these 3 selection tools, you should be able to clean up your model. If you need a bit more fine-tuning help, there is splat mode on the right. These shows the rings of the splats, and that's the way the new 3D scanning technology works, is it renders these splats of paint almost onto the point cloud. For this one, I'll use the brush tool as well as other tools to do some final touch-up cleaning. There's also the point cloud function. This way, you can easily see points that are hanging around that should not exist. And again, I'll use the brush tool to highlight them and get rid of them. With the hand tool, you can double click on a certain point and that will become your focus point. Let's say these points over here I don't want. I'll double click next to it, zoom in, and I'll use the loop tool to get rid of them. I'll turn off the points to give me a better view. So you can go through this process to clean up your model and make it presentable. Once you're done, press save and rename it. And press OK. Give it a moment to load, and when it's done, I'll tell you it is successful. Back in the main dashboard, you'll see there is a newly edited model. Notice there is no thumbnail, so let's go in and edit that. When inside, you'll see the 2 warnings to add a thumbnail as well as setting the default camera view before you can publish this model. Let's select the menu on the left and select Save Thumbnail. But let's choose a good view for our thumbnail. This one, you save the thumbnail, and the default camera view is the camera view that users will see as they load the model. I'll put this on the left just to demonstrate. I'll publish this, and on load will be looking from the left, and in the thumbnail is on the right. Next is Edit Item button. This edits the title and description of your 3D model, as well as the category and the visibility. This makes it easier for other users to find your 3D model. Let's talk about the model viewer user interface. If you forget what these icons are, you can click the main menu, and I will show you the names for the respective icons. You can select via the main menu, or you can just click the shortcuts. I'll start by talking about the camera view. This is similar to the default camera view before, but this one allows you to guide your users through points of interest via camera poses that you set. So let's say I want to show off this cushion. I will push the new camera view button. And then I'll use the pencil to edit the name of this new camera. I'll click the check mark to set the name, and a check mark again to set the camera. I'll navigate to the backrest. You can double click on the model to set the focus point. And then I can add a new camera, use the pencil again to edit the name, and check marks to set the name and the camera. Please remember to push save to save everything. Now you can see there are 2 camera views that my users can cycle through. You can also use the number keys at the top of your keyboard to navigate these camera views. Next, I'll talk about the annotations. Select New Annotation. Annotations are markers you can attach to the 3D models. This will further detail your visualizations to your viewers. Once you've set the position of the marker, you can click the check mark, and that will open the annotation window. The description in the annotations can take in hyperlinks to navigate your users to external pages. I can also add image URLs, like so. Confirm the ad, save the changes, and now when you click the annotation, this is what you would see. I'll add something similar on this side. Let's say I want to show off the stitching here. I'll click Annotation menu, New Annotation, select the point, check mark. Now there are 2 annotations with 2 camera views. So when your user is browsing your product, they can cycle through points of interest as well as selecting the markers. If you have more complex 3D models or scenery and you want to separate your products into different categories, you can use the layer function. This separates the cameras and the annotations into different layers. This way, you can immerse users into a complex 3D scene for them to interact with your visualizations. This concludes the 3D scanning tutorial. Please check out the video description for how you can export these 3D models onto websites like WordPress or Shopify. Thanks for watching.